Middle-earth is probably the best loved fantasy setting ever written anywhere, and it has seen its way into pretty much any medium you can think of, including role-playing games. However, in role-playing games are seeing very limited success. Now Cubicle 7 has taken upon themselves to bring a new game that will hopefully bring in the whole spirit of Middle-earth. Welcome to the One Ring. Are the contents any good though? Let's take a look at it. To embark upon this has not been a solution or decision that Cubicle 7 has taken lightly. It's a massive, massive responsibility, and I think they've gone really above board to make sure that everything is as it should be, to make justice to Tolkien's Middle-earth. John Howe is an incredibly well-known artist that has created thousands and thousands and thousands of pieces of work for Lord of the Rings and Middle-earth in general, and John Hodgson is kind of, right now, he's the darling of the digital artist world, the fantasy world, and he, with good reason, because he's absolutely fantastic, and he's been art directing this. Choosing Francesco Nepitello was a massive risk, because Francesco is not a humongously well-known designer. So I don't understand, I don't know why they went for it, but it has obviously worked because it's done absolutely fantastic work. But since I'm not here to talk about how good or bad or well or badly the game plays, just to take a look at whether this is worth the amount of money they ask you for it, let's take a look at it now. Surprisingly, for a role-playing game, it comes in some sort of a box with 2 books, a map and a set of customized dice for the game. Once we open this, the illustration, the cover is lovely. It's really nice. The subdued palette really fits and goes very, very well with the theme. Although Tolkien's Middle-earth is a very colourful and varied land, but the forests tend all to be dark and green and oppressive and very, very little sunlight, and this does that just perfectly. Surprisingly enough, the typography here, although it's quite convoluted, and that is not something that I would go for, it does work very well, and again it goes very nicely with the whole elven and magical thing. The first thing that we take out is a very well tucked in little plastic box with the dice, which is not easy to get out. Here we go. These customized dice are very lovely indeed. Let's take a look at them. A dodecahedron and 6 dice, 6-sided dice with strange signs on them. What's that? It's a 5, yay. They are lovely. Again, they are absolutely lovely. They are just dice, but the font that they have used for this is just delightful. Very, very nice to see that. Very kind of rustic, which is excellent. Let's go for the books. We get 2 books on this one. The Adventures of On the Edge of the Wild, the Lore Master book, and the Adventurous book, which is great. Again, well, same illustration in there, a bit bigger. The illustrations are just lovely. The whole artwork throughout these books, I think they are going to be awesome. Let's take a look first of all at the Adventurers book. Very well bound. This is heavy. Listen. That is the sound of a solid book with a very nice binding coming out. Lovely. This is just gorgeous. I've heard about this game, but I have not seen it before. The layout is absolutely great. Something that they have done, because there's a lot of words in here, something they have done, and this is credit to the art direction, they have used a fairly elaborate font. And what they've done to make it a little bit more readable for people like me with a tiny bit of dyslexia is that the separation between the lines is a little bit wider than you would normally expect. And also the separation between the paragraphs is very, very nicely put together to put there. So there's no way for me to mix one paragraph with the next. This is lovely. This is really, really nice. This is very inviting. I can't put my finger into it, but this book really makes you want to read it. It's not off-putting at all, in the slightest. Nice amount of illustrations. Oh, beautiful. Sorry. This is just gorgeous. A nice amount of illustrations, very nice number of details going all over the place. It's great. It is great. And look at that. How could you not like that? This is just lovely. The Law Master book, I can see there should be a little bit more information in here, so more words, less images, to see if I'm right. Oh, look at that. Pencils. It's good how they have mixed the number of artists, and yet the whole thing feels very, very Middle-earthy. Everything feels very consistent, which is one of my bugbears with companies that use more than one artist to do anything. How to mix these styles, and this is doing that absolutely beautifully. So it's slightly less amount of illustrations in this one. More, it is worthier. There's more information to give that you have to assimilate. But again, because of the way that they have sorted out the paragraphs, the way that they have done the font, the way that they are differentiating what everything is meant to be, it doesn't feel like a heavy book to read. And that has to be praised, because it's one of the things of current role-playing games that it's a bit, come on, don't give me so much information that it really puts me off. This book doesn't do that, and that is really good news. Fantastically produced. Fantastically produced. Quality of the paper, I really wish you could touch this. The quality of the paper is lovely. Really, really great. And we have the maps. Thick enough paper. Is not board. It's not meant to be. Thick enough paper with the wilder land in your little hexagonal, which I believe is one of the mechanics of the game, which is about traveling around everything, and these hexagons are meant to be helping an overlord calculating how long it's going to take you to get from one side of Middle-earth to Mordor, or wherever it is you want to go. The style of the map, the illustration, does go very well with the rest of the game, so I have absolutely no complaints about it. Yes, it's a little bit difficult to see and can be a little bit confusing to see in these darker brown areas with all the forests, to see the hexagonal grid. I wish they had done something about it, but it's something I can live with. I'm not put off by it right away. And probably something that until you see it print, cannot do anything about it. But it would be nice if in future releases and printouts of the book and the maps, something about this could be done to make it a little bit more obvious where the grid is. The second map is not as functional in the sense of grids and distances. This is just more for illustration purposes and to give you a sense of the scale of the distance between things. Surprisingly, it's not the biggest area to play in terms of Tolkien. I mean, you have here about, I don't know if that's 150 miles. You have 300, maybe 600 miles to play in. I mean, it's a considerable amount of terrain, don't get me wrong, it's a big space, but it's not worldwide space, which is what normally role-playing games will come up with, you know, especially these D&D type games. Not anymore. This is just an area, and it is manageable. Actually, I like that. I like it that you get a fairly small area to play, so you can actually devise and memorize more easily where everything is meant to be and how you could be using it. That is actually a pretty well done move from Cubicle 7. But this retails for $59.99 American dollars. Boy, this is worth it. This is very, very well worth it. I'm not kidding. The fact that you have this very thick box where you can keep your books and your maps, and probably will have even space a lot tight for a couple of character sheets. The fact that it comes with this, the beautifully printed maps in nice thick paper, this is going to last quite a lot. And the amount of artwork and quality that come into these books with a set of dice. You know what? I don't think they could have got it any better in terms of value for money. If this game plays as good as it looks, and I know it does, boy, you're in for a treat. If you are into Tolkien, I don't think you could do wrong going for this game. Go for it.